Guys, welcome back. Mike here down on Mike's RC Corner. Thanks for tuning this video. And in this video, we're going to unbox this new truck that I got in. It's a WL Toys Rock Crawler D7 4-wheel drive cross country 12 scale. I got this from Banggood. It says over here it goes 45 kilometers an hour. We'll check that out. Check it out. 2.4 gigahertz. It's a high-speed RC. It's got shocks, and it can go on the off-road. Woohoo! Well, let's get this thing out of the box and we'll see what this thing can do. So here it is, guys. It's out of the box, and I've already removed the body clips. Comes with 4R clips. It's a good looking RC, 12 scale. It's got like a 10 scale feel to it because it's so high and so big, the big tires, but the wheelbase is a little bit shorter, so that makes it the 12 scale. But just go over quick here what you all get inside the box. You get the manual, black and white, paper. Let's see how many pages it has. It has roughly 22 pages. What's nice is it has all the parts break down, and they're all numbered, and it shows you how it all goes together in here. Very handy. And if you cannot find these parts on the sites like Banggood, there's always the WL Toys site too, or also under Exelhong. If you Google search them up and go to the parent company, you can find the site, and they actually have many brands on there where you can find all the parts in case you ever break something. Now you get this charger here for this RC. It's USB based. Charges the balance lead. And what's interesting with this one, it says it can output 2,000 milliamps, or 2 amps, 2 volt, or 2S, sorry. So input is looking for anywhere from it's a 5 volt, 0.05 amp up to 2.5 amp input. So obviously it's talking like you can plug this into your computer port on your laptop USB port, and it will charge that battery, but it will go very slow. Whereas if you find a switching power brick, maybe even something like from a higher end cell phone, and you can plug this in, and you could probably maximize the 2 amp output to charge that battery quick. So I'm a little skeptical of this charger, but excuse me, I have different ones to use, and I would always recommend, if you're in the hobby and you're going to get a few RCs, to get yourself a hobby grade charger. Comes with a Dean's plug. It's a light ion battery, and it says it's 1500 milliamp hour. So the battery should last about 10-12 minutes on this. Of course, you get a cross wrench for doing the nuts to take the wheels off, and standard fare for WL Toys. You get the radio, that's very common. Interesting, it has the mode button. Not sure if that's going to have any features or functions on this RC, or is this the common thing? You got the on-off switch here. The trigger feels good, but it's feels a little tight there. This wheel is a little bit smaller than the standard RC stock transmitter you get, but it does work just fine, and it has foam on it, which is always nice. Of course, it takes 4 AA's, and over here we have a throttle dual rate, which is really cool because then that allows you to slow it down. Dial it down will slow down the RC speed, and dial it up will give you the full potential of the motor. And of course, steering trim, so you can center your steering. We're going to have a quick look at the RC like this, so you guys get a full side view. And off top, you got the tires. I don't know if you can hear that. That's a lot of air coming out. You can see that they're glued. You can see the glue on the rims, but there's no foam in here. And they're about a medium, I'd say, compound. They're not soft, not hard, right in the middle. Yeah, just a great looking RC. I really like the graphics, the paint scheme. D7 Racing, Raceworks Off-Road, 2537. Not sure what all that means. but it's nothing crazy on it. And sometimes they put silly words on things, and it takes a bit of the credibility of the way. You got two drivers inside. Looks pretty good. I wish they would have done a little bit better for the helmets. I'm not sure if that's realistic or not. Like it looks like they have kind of like a shroud on. I don't know if that's the right term, but a more like a race style helmet. What you see in a lot of the RCs would have probably been better, but this was just probably easier for them to make. It's all part of the shell. In the back, you see here we got like a fire extinguisher. It's all part of the molding. You know, you got a little of like it looks like a gas can, a shovel, and then some carburetor maybe type air intakes or whatever. I'm not 100% sure what that would be trying to simulate. But that's you got a wheelie bar here. That's pretty cool. But the overall the body's really solid. It's screwed down panels. It had an overspray on it. I've already peeled that off. This thing pops really nice. It's super bright, and I always think that if you got at least the appearance looks great, it makes you more excited about the RC. And it's always cool when they got men inside. Kind of gives it more of a realism. And this thing is heavy. Look at this thing, man. It is pretty heavy duty, and it's got a plastic cage inside almost. Yeah, the cage is right there. That's what everything screws into. So that is, this feels, it's got significant weight. I'm very impressed with that. So if you can just see, this looks like this is like a subshell that's screwed in, and then you got the panels here, full panel here that kind of comes over top. That screws in all around, and then you got the roof panel. So you got about 3 or 4 different panels here. Well, it looks great. To note, there's no LEDs on this model, but if you look inside, they do have something for you if you wish to put some LEDs on it. A lot of these models do have LEDs that come. This one was like right under $100. You can see the battery. It has LED pods that fit into the headlights in front in case you want to run some headlights into this thing. So it's pretty cool. We got friction shocks on this, and there's no oil. It's a little bit bouncy, but we've discovered with RCs like this that it actually works pretty okay. You can go out and upgrade shocks, and it'll give you a better experience, especially when you go over the bumps with friction shocks. I notice when you hit a big bump that the back end usually kicks up and launches the RC back up too high. That's one of the downfalls of having this. The bumpers are very flexible, as you can see, and the wheelie bar, it does have some give too. I noticed it was kind of just a bit away from the body. I'm a little concerned about that. Not that it's going to ruin the body that much, but I wish this was a little bit more stiff, and then wouldn't bounce into the body, because that could maybe cause some cracking. You got it all tied in ESC here. Down here is where the battery wire goes. We'll get into that in a sec. It's got a big cross brace, 550 size brush motor, all the good stuff. It's got a big motor plate in here. This plastic motor plate. Never seen anything like that. Kind of goes all the way across here. You got your servo. It is 5-wire servo, but I like the way it's mounted. It's kind of got a more of a traditional 1/10 scale setup, and the servo saver is built into here in the mount, which is kind of nice and separates from the steering rack from the servo. That'll be kind of a nice way. You can usually adjust it by tightening down this screw. Will tighten up or loosen the servo saver. We'll just leave it as stock. It's got metal dog bones. What else can I say about this? So one thing I noticed, I use hot glue to mount this. So this is not two-way tape or anything like that. It is hot glue, which is interesting. You don't see that too often. I'm just noting things that catch my eye. Now down here, you'll see it's got plastic A-arms. One thing I really like here, and one thing I don't like here. First thing I'll cover the thing I really like. These metal hinge pin holders on the suspension arms, and that these are solid. That is very good thing because these usually tend to be the weak points on RCs, and it's good to see metal there. So it's already kind of almost like upgraded. Plastic chassis. One thing I do not like is I do not like the on-off switch on the bottom of the chassis. This will get filled up with dirt, grit, and it will make it jam up and harder to move, I'm assuming, especially if you run it on sand. I really don't care for that. Now, something interesting here is this battery pod. You pinch it in and you fold it this way and it opens up. And there you go. Dean's connector. And you put the battery in. Now, you might want to note, though, there's 2 holes that go through for the battery wire to feed in. There's also space over here for it to feed in through too, and out the back. Now this is kind of cool in a way because this lends itself for you to put something bigger in here, a bigger battery, and that would work out really well if you want to add some run time. Now, one thing I'm going to note, and I have this discussion with several people on my channel, especially I get this in the comments of my videos, is the difference between Li-ion and lipos. And a lipo battery will have more output, it has more punch, it has a bit more power, maybe what you call a C rating. It definitely would, if you put a lipo in this RC, you would probably see a small gain in speed. And Li-ions are a little more lazy with that, with the punch they give. And the only concern I ever have with these things is that the lipo cutoffs, this is a Li-ion cutoff, and the Li-ion cutoff would be different than a lipo cutoff. And if the lipo gets too far down, the lipo's gone. The Li-ions work fine in here, so if you want to do lipo in here and gain a few, maybe 5 more kilometers, 3-4 more kilometers in speed, I would definitely put on a voltage alarm in there, and it will start beeping when it gets to the cutoff on the lipo, because I would not trust this. I've done it before and put a lipo in these, not necessarily this RC, but another one, and you run it, and then all of a sudden the RC starts slowing down, and you think, okay, it's great, it's time to bring it in, and the next time you go to charge that lipo, all of a sudden you get weird readings, and it starts draining on the charger, and you're like, what's going on? And yeah, before you know it, it errors out, and the lipo's lost. And if you're in my position here, living in Canada, sorry going on about this, but it's hard to get lipos shipped here, especially they're expensive in the stores, and they're very expensive to ship here, especially when you buy from international or like even from the USA. There's some kind of shipping hazard. They think they're very dangerous, and you pay through the nose to ship a lipo. So getting lipos to Canada is a pain in the butt. But overall, we're going to stop talking about this. I'm looking forward to running this RC. I'll just note it has Philips hardware in it. Be on the lookout soon for the running video of this. This is the WL Toys 12402A, also known as the D7 Rock Crawler Racer. I'm not sure if it's going to be much for that. It certainly will do the trails very well, but we also like to see how fast this goes on the road. And we'll also have the brand new radar out that I've scooped up. Make sure you check that video out. We're going to give this thing a good go. So thanks for tuning in again, guys. I appreciate you always leaving comments. I always try and get back to you as soon as possible on those. Alright, we'll leave it at that. Take care, peace out, and we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.